Tell me about the depth, because obviously you look at the roster this year and you certainly appear poised to have multiple options of guys who can carry that load.
Yeah, I really feel like we have 4 tailbacks that can start and play. The problem is there's only one ball in the field, so to get them all touches, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do that. But it's nice to have that depth. It's a long season, and typically we're a 2-back team, where we can kind of rotate the tailbacks in there. But I think they're specialized too, where we can use them in many different formations and personnel groupings where they can do a lot of things. So I think there's a chance you could see them, 2 tailbacks on the field at the same time. They can play receiver, so there's a lot of things they can do. But return kicks and so, but it would be hard to get all 4 of those guys as many touches as they probably need.
Tell me about CJ and the role that he's sort of carved out for himself.
Well, CJ actually has become maybe our most well-rounded back as far as running the football between the tackles and outside and catching the football, pass protecting. He's kind of slashed right now, him and Nisi, as far as who the starter would be. He's done a great job of getting himself in shape. He really understands what we're doing. He's very smart. He's physical, and he's really turned into a nice leader for the offense. So he brings a lot to the table for us.
And tell me individually about Brandon and about your options there as your 3 and 4.
Yeah, Bigelow he's really come on strong. Last year he was hampered coming off the ACL, the double ACL surgeries 2 years in a row. So he was feeling his way through it last year. But this year he has a lot of confidence in his knee. He's got great speed. He's that breakaway back. The guys that you're used to, like a Javid Best, who has open field, great speed. But he's also doing a great job of running hard, catching the football. He's got big play potential.
And remind me, I'm sorry, the redshirt.
Daniel Lasco.
Yeah.
Daniel Lasco he redshirted last year, but he's a big physical back with really good feet, great lateral movement, and a lot of strength, and he has speed in the open field as well. So with all those guys there, they all bring something to the table that you can utilize in your different personnel packages.
And I guess finally, maybe just speak to the importance of, everybody focuses so much on Keenan and the passing game, and obviously you guys have the potential to be a very good team through the air, but the importance of the ground game sort of keeping the offense moving.
Yeah, I think to keep some of the pressure off Keenan, you have to be able to run the football effectively, where they're not out double covering people. And we can utilize our tight end. Our tight ends are playing really well, and the freshman receivers are playing really well. So I'm excited, but we're going into the game. Freshman receivers, typically there's a learning curve there for game time, but they're big playmakers. They're very skilled guys, and so they need some experience in game time situations. But I feel good about the weapons that are around. We just have to make sure we utilize them properly. Run game, tight ends, other receivers can take some of the pressure off Keenan.
One word to describe that loss against Nevada a few years ago. First word that comes to mind.
Disappointing. It was going in there. They're a very good football team, but we went in there in the first drive. We got the ball intercepted, and it didn't play well on defense. Didn't do a good job of defending the pistol. And so it was a very disappointing outing. We let them get the momentum in that game and then had to come back. And we were coming back. We threw an interception for a touchdown, which really got the crowd into the game. So we didn't play to our full potential. But they deserved to win that game. They put it on us pretty good.
Now, obviously, their personnel on offense has changed greatly. But looking at their personnel on defense, they lost some of their best guys from last year. They lost their leading tackler, linebacker, had over 100 tackles, their best cornerback who had 16 pass breakups, which is ludicrous, and they lost their best defensive tackle who had like 10.5 sacks. Do you go about attacking them in the same? Do you just kind of hope for the best but prepare for the worst, just assume the guys behind them are going to be just as good?
Well, because you always have to assume that they're good players, which I'm sure they are. So it's schematically more than anything. I think their safeties are as good as any safeties that we play in our conference, as a tandem of safeties. And, so they're a good football team. I know they're well coached. I know they're a tough, disciplined team. And so we're not going in looking that there's any weaknesses anywhere. It's about how we prepare and how we play.
Having faced the pistol now a few times, do you have any insight into how Clancy's kind of going to go in at it now against this?
Well, we've seen it a few times now, and so we're a little bit more experienced with it, but it still comes down to execution. It really does. You have to make sure you're very disciplined playing against them. You have to make sure you're really good open field tacklers, and You know, so those are all the basics of football.
Looking back at the last two games, really against the Pistons, the Nevada game and then the last UCLA game, it looks as if safety discipline seems to be a key. You have to keep that guy keyed in on the dive, or keep that guy that when the safety kind of drifts, that's when they can kind of
Well,
bite.
it's everyone. Everyone had, you know, because there's multiple defenses that you're going to run, and so but the offense doesn't change, you know. So anyone in their assignment, depending on what defense you play, has got to stay disciplined in what they're doing. It's not just the safeties, it's the linebackers, it's the gap control, it's all those type of things. You have to cancel every phase of what they do, or they're going to hurt you with it.
Offensively and or defensively, what kind of challenges do they present to you guys?
Well, they're very disciplined. You know, very disciplined, hard, play very hard. You know, they have good corners. They cover well. Their safeties are excellent. They play very hard up front. You know, so it's they're a hard-nosed group that plays very, very hard. And so we're going to have to be physical, and we're going to play hard and meet their passion when it comes to the game.
What can you tell from their from tape of their quarterback from last year? It seems like they kind of had a little two-headed monster thing going on.
Well, I think he's more experienced now. You know, he was young last year, and now he's more experienced, and I think he got better through the year, you know, as he went along, gained more confidence as he went along, and so anytime a quarterback's coming back after gaining that experience, you know, playing your first year, you're much more comfortable, much more confident, and so that's what I expect to see from him.